Hello, this is the Roses, 1722. Welcome in. Today we're going to read The Shoemaker and the Elves. There once was a shoemaker who, through no faults at his own, became so poor that at last he had nothing left but just enough leather to make one pair of shoes. He cut out the shoes night, so as he set to work upon the next morning, and he had a good conscience, he laid himself quietly down in his bed, committed himself to heaven, and fell asleep. In the morning, he, he had said his prayers and was going to get to work. He found the pair of shoes that made and finished and standing on his table. He was very much astonished and could not tell what to think, and he took the shoes in his hand to examine them more closely, and they were so well made that every stitch was in the right place, just as if they had come from the hand of a master workman. Soon after a purchaser, entered. As the shoes fitted him very well, he gave more than the usual price for them. That's awesome. So that the shoemaker had enough money to buy leather for two more pairs of shoes. Two more. He cut them out at night and intended to set to work the next morning with fresh spirit, but that was not to be, for when he got up, they were already finished. Wow, somebody's doing it for him. And a customer even was not lacking. That's so awesome. Who gave him so much money that he is able to buy leather enough for four pairs, for four new pairs. Early morning, he found the four pairs also finished. Wow. And so it happened. Whenever he cut out it in the evening, was worked up by the morning. So that he was soon in the way of making a good living, and in the end became very well to do. One night, not long before Christmas, when the shoemaker had finished cut out, and before he went to bed, he said to his wife, "How would it be if we were set up tonight and see who it is that does us this service?" Basically does like the favor for us to have them made. His wife agreed and set a light to burn. They were both they both hid in a corner of the room, behind some coats that were hanging up, and they began to watch. As soon as it was midnight, they saw come in two neatly formed, naked little men who seated themselves before the shoemaker's table. Oh my goodness, they're kind of oh. And took up the work that was already prepared, and began to stitch, to pierce, and to hammer, and so cleverly and quickly with their little fingers that the shoemaker's eyes could scarcely follow them. So full of wonder was he, and they never left off until everything was finished and was standing ready on the table, and then they jumped up and ran off. The next morning, the shoemaker's wife said to her husband, "Those little men have made us rich. We ought to show ourselves grateful. With all their running about and having nothing to cover them, they must be very cold. I'll tell you what, I will make little shirts, coats, waistcoats, and breeches for them, and knit each of them a pair of stockings, and you shall make each of them a pair of shoes. The husband consented willingly, and at night, when everything was finished, they laid the gifts together on the table instead of the cut out work, and placed themselves so that they could observe how the little men would behave. When midnight came, they rushed in, ready to set to work, but they found, instead of the pieces of prepared leather, the neat little garments put ready for them. They stood a moment in surprise, and they testified the greatest delight. With the greatest swiftness, they took up the pretty garments and slipped them on, singing, "What spruce and dandy boys are we! No longer cobblers we will be." Then they hopped and danced about, jumping over the chairs and tables, and at last they danced out of the door. From the time they were never seen again, but as always went well, the shoemaker. Hello, welcome in. As long as he lived, and whatever he took in hand prospered. That's awesome. See, it's good to say your prayers or good vibes, whichever you believe in, to your higher power, because you never know. But does it always happen in our time? Sometimes it's in his time or whoever's time, because there's different gods and goddesses, depends on your thoughts and religions. But this is the Roses, 1722. We hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful night. And remember, you are amazing. Mwah, 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 and awesome. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you all for everything you do. I'll start another live. I'm going to get through some of these short ones, and I'm going to Betty Bye. That's what I'm going to do. I'm kind of looking through here. Not getting through all those short ones, but some of them. All right. The next story we will read is called The Servant and the Maids and the Elves. All righty. Thank you so much.